Greetings and salutations, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over my new and improved Ranger build after the latest Wake of the Waters update in Enshrouded. We also have another winner in our Winter Kingdom giveaway to announce real quick. Congratulations to TKRebel09 for winning our second giveaway. And if you want to be entered in the next giveaway, just comment Ranger in the comments below and be subscribed. I'm your boy Winter Phoenix, and if this video helps you in any way, drop a like and a comment to let me know you want more. Let's get into it. Real quick, here's a shot of the armor we're running, if you want to just copy and paste my build without explanation. Otherwise, I am going to spend some time breaking down my choices. Now, in order to build the most successful Ranger of all time, we need to first understand what our weaknesses are, and then address them. The main weakness to any Ranger is going to be one of two things: close quarter combat and a small HP pool. Let's start with the HP and how to fix that. In Enshrouded, your HP is linked to your Constitution's growth. Unfortunately, as a Ranger, we don't dive deep enough into the warrior tree to get those Constitution points. Or, well, we'd be tanks. You do get a base amount of 8 points in every stat, and that totals 500 HP. Believe it or not, that's going to be plenty because we are going to get a boost in HP in our armor, and that's where we begin. Our first piece is the new Sun Piercer pants. These are from the blacksmith, and they give us a decent amount of HP at 135 and 9 health regeneration. On top of that, when it comes to physical defense, this is our best piece with 126 physical armor. The next piece we get is the Tide Collar tunic. This chest piece is from the alchemist, and here's the recipe. This chest piece has the most optimal setup for our playstyle with 180 HP, 144 mana, and 101 physical defense and 201 magical armor. This piece covers a lot of ground with the decent HP and armor stats to counter one of our main weaknesses and mana to drive our offenses with our bow. With these two pieces, we now have 815 HP, 227 armor, and 251 magic armor. That's more stats than the Enshrouded's dev team gave to their own tank armor set. So, by all definitions, maybe we are a tank? We do end up with a little more HP than 815, but we'll get to that part when we get in the kitchen. For now, let's move on to our next piece, the Tide Collar shoes. These shoes are from the Hunter. These shoes are from the Alchemist, and they give us that mana regeneration we need to fire infinite arrows and get around the world like a magic carpet. They also have a decent bump in magic armor. Onto our hands, we are sporting the very fancy and very new Skull Stalker gloves. Gloves are honestly dealer's choice, as both gloves are good for what we want to do, but I prefer these over the Quetzal Hunter gloves. They provide the same armor values, but the Stalker gloves give a nice 9% to your bow damage and an extra 13% damage to your skill shots, i.e. headshots, which Enshrouded has and you should be abusing as a Ranger. With that being said, you might think we would take the Skull Stalker helmet for the same argument. It gives even more headshot damage, which is true, but we actually want to get the Quetzal Hunter helmet instead. The reason being is we often play solo, so we want a more all-around build to survive all types of situations. And the difference between the Quetzal gloves and the Quetzal helmet is the second bonus stat. The gloves offer 9% against ranged enemies. Meanwhile, the helmet offers 15% critical strike damage. We take advantage of this with our playstyle and our backup weapons. Obviously, this build would look crazy fashion-wise, so we try to utilize the customized appearance like I have. Now, before we move on to the weapons, let's cover the rings real quick as they haven't changed too much since my last video. I still spend most of the time in the snowy mountains, so I like the frost resistance from the Ring of Frost. It also offers an increase in ice damage specifically. You'll see why that matters soon. Secondly, I have the ultimate Ring of Mana. It just helps that much more with gliding and shooting mana arrows. Onto the weapons. First up is our bow. We are running the new legendary bow, the Temple Keeper's Bow. Once upgraded to level 50, which is the new limit, you get an extra 20% in magic shock damage, 5% to increase critical strike chance, and 20% increased damage to the back, and also Headseeker, which increases stamina with every skill shot. This bow is nice because it can go to level 50, giving you bigger damage numbers than before, and has that magic shock damage, which is geared towards taking advantage of the wet debuff you get when in the rain or submerged in water. Now, I'll be 100% transparent with you. Once I get the playstyle down of this build, any bow will do. I also keep a devilish bow around for the extra ice damage it does. It just depends on where you are in the game and your skill level with this build. For the gem, I am running the gem of aerobatics. Aerobics? Oh my god, I can't read it. This adds 5 little ninja stars to your airborne attacks that hone in on your target. The range isn't as far as your arrows, but it's decent enough to get some extra DPS out of it. Secondly, we have our daggers. For this build, we are using the Adorned Drakling daggers. These offer a nice 72 damage when maxed out and also have 40% increased merciless attack damage, 10% cutting damage, 10% magic shock damage, and 5% to increase critical strike chance. These giving us that extra damage with Merciless Strike is insane when you see what we can pull off later in the video when I go over some in-game combat tips. The gem of my daggers is one of the older ones that I recently fell in love with, and that is the gem of Battle Mania. This gives you a buff of an extra 203 HP, 135 stamina, and 62 mana regeneration for 3 seconds when activated. This makes us very aggressive and easily cuts through waves of enemies in the hollow halls or out and about. Before we get into these combat tips, we need to talk about the last thing we're going to bring with us. Well, the last 2 things we're going to bring with it. Alright, it's really the last 7 things we're going to bring with us, but bear with me, hold on. For food, you may notice I have 4 in my hotbar, and that's because this build allows us to have an extra food slot over the rest of the commoners. First one is the strawberry milkshake. It is the cornerstone to any healthy diet. This one in particular has 18 health regeneration and 12 stamina regeneration. Next is the Kala Luna soup. This soup comes with 40 bonus mana and 6 mana regeneration, and it also gives us an extra 3 minutes in the shroud. Third, we have the new taro root curry. This is the meal of choice for any serious ranger and will always be a staple food. This vegetable dish gives us a 21% increase to both our weapon types and has an extra 60 mana for arrows and maneuverability. Can't say enough about this one. It is a must. To make this meal even better, we have one more food option and it's complementary to this one. Our 4th food item is the chicken soup. With this meat dish, we also get a boost to our weapons, but it's a bit smaller. 6% to be exact, but every bit does count. This also has the added bonus of more HP. 160 to be exact, giving us just under 1k total HP. For the ammo, we keep it simple. We bring only 2 specialty arrows and literally one main arrow. Our first one is the Explosive Arrow 1. Not 2 or 3, but Explosive Arrow 1. That's because we're going to chew through these in sticky situations, and these are the cheapest to replenish. It's freaking tar, clay, and dusty flint arrows. It doesn't get much cheaper than that for explosive arrows. The other 2 are not worth the demand, but are still doable. Just, in all my years in the service, I've learned that a hole in a man is still a hole no matter the size, and that shit hurts. Our second arrow is going to be the Stun Arrow, because these can now be used to combo into while fighting enemies. I love that they did these for these recently, and you'll see why in just a minute. Lastly, our single arrow for all our main damage is the new Eternal Arrow 2 baby. Finally, we get an upgraded version and it is beautiful. The first arrow was good, but this one does more damage, obviously, and I love big damage numbers. This is also why we need the mana regeneration that we get from our foods and armor. Here in the skill tree, we can see we've got a lot of skills to go over, but don't worry, I've got a plan. I'm going to build the build right here with you, and I'm going to do it in the order of most crucial to the niche stuff. I have 170 plus points to play with, but that's not everyone's current level. This way, you can adjust as you see fit depending on where you are in the game. The first thing you want to do is fill out your movement abilities. First, get well rested right off the bat. Even with no decorations up, it's an extra 5 minutes on your rested timer, and that's key this early in the game. If you like to explore more than fight mobs, I would go into double jump first, then get updraft like I did here. Then you want to secure a better dodge as you start to get into the game and start encountering more mobs. For that, we go into blink through this intelligence node and get our first supported skill. You want both blink and emergency blink. These will replace the dodge roll with a blinking teleport. It's not perfect and it doesn't have any iframes, so use it earlier than you think you need to for a blink. The reason we went this way is also so we can pick up evasion attack and battle heal. This is our first little bit of spice in this build because this allows us to blink away from a target and then essentially blink back into the target for a follow-up attack. You will spam this technique with another skill we learned as well. It's just a must for anyone doing melee combat on the ground. You have to get it. Plus the battle heal heals you as you land crits with melee weapons, i.e. our daggers. Now that you can move around a bit better, it's time to start taking some names, and we start with the merciless attack. When an enemy's stun bar is full, we can execute a 500% increased damage attack. And it looks like this. This is very easy to achieve on enemies constantly, as we are always stunning hordes of mobs. At this point, we want to start leaning into our bread and butter, which is our bow. We go full into the ranger tree. We want bee sting, multi-shot, and eagle eye. Bee sting will allow you to hover mid-air while aiming to avoid being overran. This skill helps us control the pace of any fight. Multi-shot will do what it sounds like. It will shoot multiple shots at a time. This does count towards your supply, so if you are using anything but the eternal arrow, that's going to be expensive. If you are using the eternal arrow, then it will just cost more mana. Luckily, we've already accounted for that. At this point of the build, you can go for the assassin tree if you still lack the experience to confidently take on mobs. Or go for the trickster tree for those more daring and ready to start stun locking any enemy or boss. Either or, focus on one of these trees while also going up the survivor tree. This tree gives us the 4th food slot and lots of benefits to our stamina as well. In short, we want the assassin tree for the skills, shell shock, and chain reaction mostly. For the trickster tree, we want begone and to prioritize spirit over intelligence. Spirit dictates your mana pool, and begone turns your unarmed strikes into stuns. I'll show this off in a few during the combat tips. And in the survivor tree, we stick to the right path for some stamina regeneration and desert stomach. We go all the way to the end on all these trees, so start doing those shroud wells if you find you're lacking points. I would say this is the core of any successful ranger in Enshrouded, and the rest are flavor picks. I of course will be getting all the dexterity points I can since it determines your overall damage output with bows and daggers respectively. My recommendations would be to go up the Beastmaster tree. This tree has the last few points for dexterity but also some key dagger skills for when you are on the ground. If you want to be truly successful, you are going to need some of these dagger skills and the increased parry windows that this tree offers. For the last few points I round out the build with these things like finesse from the athlete tree for longevity on my daggers. I also take the center skills now to increase the damage my build already produces, increased merciless strike damage and backstab damage as well. That there takes up all 170 plus points, and there's still a few more for me to go. I'll show you how in the last part of this video. I have a quick few combat tips to help fully optimize this build. I'll start with my favorite one, and that's the stun arrow and merciless strike. With all our bonus stats into the merciless strike ability, we want to use it as often as possible. If you're not very good at getting the parry timer down, then this is a great alternative to quickly stun someone and then follow up with the merciless strike. The blink doesn't come with any iframes, so with that in mind, try to be a little more proactive with your dodges. If you followed my build, then you should have the ability to blink back into the enemies, only this time we bear fangs. This is a quick 1-2 combo that gets you out of danger and then closes the gap for some punishment. For this last one, I'm going to show you how to play with your food and use begone properly. For this to work, you'll need to have an empty slot on your second hotbar. You'll have to line up that empty spot on your second hotbar with the first hotbar where your daggers are equipped. For me, that's the 2 key. Then what you want to do is land an unarmed attack to activate begone. This will stun the enemy boss. Then hit your alt key to switch hotbars and your daggers should come up. Get a few stabs in and switch back to the second hotbar. Rinse and repeat, and this can be used to beat any boss in the game outside any flying ones. But we have a bow for that, so who cares? My last quick tip is this. Remember, there are lots of secrets in this game, most of them covered in darkness. You might not always have a light on you, but your eternal arrow is emissive. That means if you are in a pinch and can't see, holding your shot with an eternal arrow will light up your surroundings and allow you to see what's going on. Remember to like and subscribe if you found any of this useful. If you want free hoodies and crap, don't forget to comment Ranger down in the comments and be subscribed to get a chance to win yourself some free stuff. That's all I've got for now. Later, nerds.